Welcome back to the Hardscape Huddle. I'm your host, Kyle Staffa, and today we are presented with the gentleman from Bold. We have Lee to my right and Chris directly in front of me. Again, thank you for tuning in. Today we're talking outdoor lighting. As you can see on the screen, we have some Bold lighting we're going to start talking about. These are integrated with natural stone, I guess we could put them in, and porcelain tile. Not a lot of the listeners may have heard of Bold lighting, or, there's a lot of different brands out there. So just tell me about the history of Bold lighting and where it came from.
Absolutely. First off, thanks for having us. Yeah, so Bold is really new to the industry, but with that newness, we also come with a ton of experience. Pretty much everybody in the business in our company some have 5 years experience, some have been in it for 25 years. So we all have different aspects of experiences. Like I myself was a hardscaper for 8 years prior. Chris here comes from the electrical industry. Yep. We have some people in our company that have some actual outdoor lighting professional business experience prior, but we all have that outdoor construction experience, right, and also the lighting manufacturer experience tied into it. So we took all of that knowledge and threw it into this brand and just made improvements to things that we saw throughout the industry that other brands were lacking, or just we didn't have as an industry whole. Ease of use, speed of install being one of them. The one thing that we boast on ourselves and we take pride in is our service, right? We talk all the time, that relationship that you build with all of your customers. I mean, I try to build that. I know Chris tries to build that, like, with every one of our customers, contractor or dealer. And that's our pride and joy, basically.
Well, that's what the hardscape market is. I mean, if you back it all out, all products, it's partnerships.
Yeah.
Staffa Stone partners with the contractor. The contractors partner with us. We partner with vendors and manufacturers like yourselves.
Right.
And as long as everybody plays nice in the sandbox, it's a great job.
Exactly.
I don't feel like I work a day in my life.
Well, that's what I'm trying to make it feel as least like work as possible. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, man. If I'm not having fun, customer's probably not having fun either, right? And if we're not easy to talk to, it doesn't matter how great our product is. It doesn't matter how great your store is. If they don't enjoy the relationship they have, they're not going to buy from you, right? That's the biggest thing for us. While we pride the product, the service is number one for us.
Yeah. We've had some contractors have a couple elements burn out, and Chris was right there.
Yep.
You jumped right in and told us what you wanted us as the vendor to do, and right. It was easy,
right? So the easier it is for you, the more likely it is you're going to continue to do business for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Us. Yep,
absolutely. So obviously it was a smart hire to hire guys like yourselves and Chris, because you could take the experience from the field and move it to the lighting business,
right?
And guide, hey guys, we need this, and this is why. Yep. This is how I used to, install different lighting brands.
Yeah. It was definitely cool for me, because coming from the hardscape industry, I actually had the luck of being the first one in the business, in the company that actually did install the product. It could have been bad. It could have been bad. It turned out well for me. Yeah, so, we'll knock on wood for that. But yeah, bringing that aspect, and since Chris has came on, it's been cool too, just to see, because my dad was an electrician, but I didn't pay any attention as I should have grown up. But with his electrical experience, it's been really cool, just seeing the terms, the terminology, the understanding, the aspect that he had coming from that sort of industry, and throwing it into our product line and throwing it into how we present it too.
It's funny, because earlier today I seen you out on a job site, and you were using electrician terminology, and the guy just looked at me and said, that's like ordering Chinese food in Spanish, right? I mean, he had no clue what you were talking about.
Right.
But it's good for you to be an electrician, because there's, from your point of view, different things that they may have never thought of.
Right.
How to wire or connectors or what have you.
When I think so, as far as like the lighting system goes, it's low voltage, right? So you're not running a risk of not going home at the end of the day, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to be an electrician to hook up 12-volt lighting, right? But I think most of my experience comes in a lot when there's questions related to code.
Yeah.
And how do we approach this? I mean, we got asked the installation of the 12.2 a month ago. Maybe we were questioning about actually, does this meet code going in? And it was like, absolutely right. Bring a code book out, section this is why we meet code. We're good to go.
I think it was something as
Put it
simple as
in.
like, oh, you can just bury it under an inch of mulch, and it's like, man,
Yeah.
if you knew how many times I just brushed mulch over the wires
Right,
on my
right.
job, like, if it's not Coda, I've got some issues to go fix. I'll be back.
So since we're on that topic, how about permitting? Right, New Jersey is now you guys are based out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yep.
So code varies from state to state, as we all know.
Township to township.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how is getting permits? Do I need a permit for this, or does the contractor need a permit?
Typically, if it's in your project, you're good as long as you're showing your design. Your design is, I'm going to say, that doesn't have to be approved by an engineer, right?
Mhm.
It's 12-volt lighting. It's, again, nothing somebody's not going to go home at the end of the day over. Where the sticking point is, typically needs to be plugged into or wired into a GFCI receptacle or circuit of some sort. An electrician needs to run that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll say to be legal, right? We all know that cowboy out there, the guy shooting from the hip,
Yep.
who's going to do it himself,
Yep.
right?
And he may know how to do
and
it.
he could, right?
It's just
And I know in Pennsylvania where we're at, some of the municipalities, more the city areas, they require you to be a master electrician within that jurisdiction, and you can't do any electrical work if you're not a master electrician. But probably 85-90% of Pennsylvania, you don't need to be a master electrician.
No, and
right?
there's states too where you have to have a low voltage license.
okay.
I know, like, I think North Carolina has one. Now, does everybody get it? No.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But they should get it, guys. Abide by your state and county, township regulations, please.
Absolutely.
And the homeowners, right? The homeowners are going to buy whatever they want to buy, and they're going to do whatever DIY project it is that they want to do.
Right.
Yep.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. They don't have those certifications. It might be a doctor through the week, right?
Yep.
Or a lawyer, or
In most states, the homeowner can't, right?
Yeah.
They have that ability because,
Right.
It's a DIY project.
Yep.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, I know in Jersey specifically, like we've had issues with the Quick Connect system, where that certain zone officer he felt
Doesn't
that
recognize it.
that code enforcement officer was like, nope, that's a a connection that needs to be done by a certified electrician. It's like, well, no, it doesn't, because it doesn't fall under these guidelines, but it's that gray area that it depends how hot and tasty his dinner was last night. That it's really
how the rest of the day's going.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things that just check your local code.
Yep.
See what the rules are, and do your best to make sure you walk that line. But for the most part, you shouldn't have much hassle with it.
Gotcha.
Most enforcement officers, if you come to them and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, what do you need to see? They're going to tell you, right? They don't want to deal with you any more than you want to deal with them.
100%.
They're doing a job.
Yeah.
And they just,
And
they
they're
want to do it
basically-
once and done.
They're basically in any aspect of construction, whether it's windows and siding, roof and framing, the code officer is just there to abide by a certain legality or a certain code. So it's all done the right, safe way.
Yep.
They're asking you to do the bare minimum of what is required for that job.
Yep.
And their job is to double check you.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yep.
So
It's the CYA rule.
That's it.
Basically the whole way
That's
down
it.
the line, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're doing a service, and we are getting off topic, but it's okay. They're doing a service that protects the homeowners and protects you as well.
Right.
So you don't have any callbacks.
Right.
But you mentioned something interesting here. The reason, Bold is so successful, even in its earlier stages, right? Because you guys have only been around.
Oh, we're coming up on a year.
Okay.
Yeah, we're coming up on a year. I think our initial soft launch was the beginning of December last year. So we're
Nice.
2 months out now.
Nice. And I met you guys at a Teco showcase.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, and then.
Heck, I think that was 2 years ago now, right?
Was it?
I think we chatted our first chat, and then since he came on, he's been hanging out with you more. So yeah, it's always a process, right? Feeling it out, getting to know each other as partners and things like that. That's part of the fun in it. But yeah.
Yeah, we've had pretty good success. The contractors that have bought it love it. It's an easy light to sell.
Mhm.
But you were talking about how easy your clip system are and how fast it is. And let's face it, time is money.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what does that mean? At the bottom, it's the bottom. It's bringing more money or revenue to your net.
Yep. Well, and the stigma behind outdoor lighting too, right? Like guys that don't know it or have never touched it, it's scary, right? It's one of those things. It's like, I've never done it. It could be a problem. It's going to cause issues for my guys. I just
Chris
don't want to touch
heard
it. Yeah.
at our store
Yep.
a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Yep.
Right? I don't do outdoor lighting.
Yep.
Too much of a pain in the butt.
Yep. And it's funny because, you give one of us 30 seconds with that dude and it's like, is it really that hard?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that's pretty easy. I mean, the connectors, the fact that every light comes with its own Cobra connector.
Right.
How many companies are doing it? There's a few of them out there. But how fast are they? I mean, we could race right now and I bet you could get this down to 5 seconds in 3 tries.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it's crazy.
it has its own indicator light on it, so the connection's good before you even connect the light. So, say I like that feature because, as a previous hardscaper, the fact that, I had to go back and clean off my lights because I had to put them in. Say I'm doing a walkway. I had to run the wire under the walkway, put it through my base before I put my pavers down. And I don't want to throw all my lights in and then finish my cuts, finish my sanding, and, then have to go back and wipe off all my path lights because they've been out there getting dusty and dirty. Now I run my wire, throw my Cobra connectors on, green light comes on, indicator light's good. I can leave those
You got power to that light.
Yeah, and every Cobra connector's powered up, and then they can sit there. I can finish my walkway, and then my final touch is coming in and slapping the lights in, right? And that's less time cleaning up. That's more efficiency for the contractor. If they need to troubleshoot it, light goes out, boom, indicator light, okay, green light, it's the fixture. Come grab another one off the shelf.
Yep.
We'll replace it. 7-year warranty. Back out.
7
back
years.
in business.
That's more than most, no?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great warranty.
It's a big one up there. And the cool part is there's no fine print, right? Integrated fixtures. He might call contractor, walk you through a few of the stupid questions, so to speak. If there's no issues, all right, great. Grab one. We'll send another one back to them, and you're good to go. Homeowner's happy, contractor's happy, you guys are happy.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
Yeah. And it prevents downtime, right? I mean, downtime is not making you money.
Absolutely.
So one other thing about the Cobra connector too, and you've heard this, and I'm sure Kyle, you've heard it as well. And I heard it today, right? We're on a job site today. Guy came over. He goes, "Which way does the Cobra connector go on?" Put it on however you want. Just lay it in there flat, snip it, snap it shut, and throw the lever so the fangs are into the insulation of the wire.
Yep.
It's that simple. So before,
so this is the Cobra connector.
that
correct?
is the Cobra connector.
So all you have to do. So obviously it's a green light now. Means it's got juice to there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the fixture, screw it into here.
Yep.
I'm done.
Yep.
That's it.
Should be lit in the patio or the path light.
Yep. It's a simple 3-step process, man. It's very nice.
And how many?
So now, obviously this is the line that is buried.
Yep.
No green light. I don't have my glasses on, so just bear with me.
Shouldn't need them.
I didn't push it hard enough.
Yep.
Oh, you got to open the lever back up. You're going to have a hard time.
Gotcha.
Flip that one back.
Yep.
So it's going to come wide open. There'll be a little spacer in there whenever it comes out. So flip that in, snap it shut. Now flip the lever.
There you go.
Green light's on.
Piece of cake.
Yep.
So how many times have you heard like business owners, right? Sometimes these guys have a hard time letting go of certain tasks, right?
Yeah.
They can't trust somebody else on their crew to
100%.
do certain tasks, right?
Yep.
So when you're soldering, you have to make sure that you have the right legs soldered to the right legs. As you know, if you're splicing or you're going this way, you're going that way, whatever, you have to make sure you're soldering the right conductors going the right direction. They don't trust some of their guys to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with this, you take some of the trust issues away from that. It's we've all worked with that less than high performing summer apprentice.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
We've all worked with them. Right.
Hired a few of them.
We I mean, we have different names for them when we're out in the field doing things, right?
Of course.
But you can send those college students or high school students out to do that.
Right.
Just kind of give them an idea where it needs to be,
Yep.
and it's easy.
Yeah.
And that was
sure.
exactly, my background. 8 years ago, if you'd asked me if I was going to be a sales rep, I tell people this all the time. I'd have laughed at you and walked away because, you know how it is. It's in sales. It's got that stigma, right? But the reason that I came on board, time to make a change in my life. And honestly, the fact that I had this one product that helped me excel in business, and it was easy to do that, I had that exact same thing happen. I had a kid high school help, summertime. It was the first day of the summer, and I had lights to put on the project, and I had to go pick up materials. I had to run here, run there. He's like, what can I do? And I couldn't train him on anything.
Right.
I was like, dude, here's the lights. Here's the connectors. Here's a layout of where they go. I'll be back in 2 hours. Came back in 2 hours, and he's cleaning the trailer. And I'm like, did you get it done? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, so a first day kid, one, that gives me confidence in my team as an owner, right? Two, gives that kid confidence. He's like, dude, I just crushed the first thing I got to do
Right.
with this job. And now they're moving on to bigger,
Hell, I'm
better
just
things.
surprised he was so ambitious to start cleaning the trailer, not sitting playing on his
There's
phone.
a few of them out there. There's a few of them still out there. So
Yeah, I think we got a couple as well. So
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that. So is that connector unique in the marketplace, or do other companies have this, or what makes it special other than saving you time and making the contractor a boatload of money?
there's a few quick connects out there, but ours is patented. So it's specific to us. The system that we use, the indicator light that we have, how it connects, everything on ours is specific to Bold. So you're not going to find a Cobra connector anywhere else.
Yeah. So it alleviates the stripping of the wire
Yep.
or the soldering, the wire nuts, send anything coming loose. It's pretty much.
Yeah, and I think one thing we did not mention is that the dielectric grease compound is inside there. So when we throw that lever, it's injecting.
Seals it right
It
off.
And that
seals
makes
it
it
up.
waterproof.
Makes it waterproof. You know, the
Gotcha.
testing.
Dust, dirt.
I mean, we have some great videos on our YouTube channel that it goes through the specs on the Cobra connector and the testing that it goes through and all that kind of stuff. So
Nice.
It's actually pretty insane.
It
Like,
is.
To know some of the testing that our fixtures go through, like, kind of blew my mind when I was like, man, I didn't even know you could do
Makes you
this
a
stuff.
believer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it brings you to a whole new confidence, you know, coming to the market, and you're like, yeah, ours are, they throw salt water at it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they beat it up before they put it in the box.
Yeah, it's
And
interesting.
So,
Now, how do we get over as a rep from Staff of Stone to the contractor that doesn't do it? He's afraid of it. Too many callbacks. My light fixture burned out. How do we get him on board to this? Or for the viewers that are watching that don't do it, how big is that market? What's roughly the profit margin that they should be making?
So I'm going to say this, and then I'll defer to Chris to answer this one. But I go back to the service, and that we pride ourselves on that service. My boss is going to hate me for this, but if you can get me out of the office, I'll come to that job site and show you why.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but we were just looking at it, you know, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, outdoor lights, you know, and I've had the conversations with Pete, you know, Paver Pete. You wouldn't buy a Bronco without headlights. You
Yeah.
wouldn't finish your basement without lights in it. Outdoor living areas are an extension of your home. And if you're selling a deck, a patio, whatever it may be, and you're not putting lights on it, you're doing the homeowner a disservice.
Right.
You're not giving them the full quality, the full value of the money. But
It's like being here in the Northeast, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia. You know, you want an outdoor heater.
Yeah.
All of us and anybody in the trades usually doesn't get home until it's dark.
right.
Or chillier in the evening.
Yep.
We need to extend the life of that patio.
Yep.
And that's also a selling feature for you to upgrade that homeowner. Hey, let's put in, you know, electric outdoor heater or what have you. Let's light up the curb appeal so you know where you can find your way home.
Mhm.
Sitting in the backyard, we're out barbecuing. It is dark because it's getting dark at 7:30 now. That's about the only time I can enjoy my backyard.
Right.
So that makes sense. I think Chris summed it up the best when he gave me the first presentation. And he looks me dead in the eye and says, well, you sit in your house in the dark? That's a great point. No, I don't. You know, do you sit in the patio in the dark? Well, I do currently, but maybe I need some lights. And
You shouldn't be.
Yeah,
you should.
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, unless you're watching that special movie, you always turn the lampshade
That's
on,
it.
right?
That's
right.
it. So, no, I think outdoor lighting, I didn't realize it was $1 billion industry, and that's in the United States.
Yeah, so $4.1 billion in the United States in 2022.
That's wild.
Yeah, and you know they're projected to basically double that in the next 10 years.
So that's an interesting fact. So, I mean, that means more landscape contractors, hardscape contractors need to get in on the lighting. So what kind of money, you know, or packages can they put together and raise their value to the homeowner?
So you can really find multiple ways to do that. You know, we have the ability to help you with designs to where you can show them a 3D walkthrough of your entire project. I liked to do the good, better, best. It's like, hey, I'm not going to do your hardscape project without 3 lights in it. Just on the step, I'm going to run a transformer, run a cable, and put 3 undercap lights down those steps. It's a safety thing. I'm not going to do the project without it because I don't do work that doesn't give you the full value of what you need. And that's bare minimum for me. And a lot of contractors are finding out that, hey, if I stand on that hill, the customer's going to appreciate it. Right. That also gives me the ability to run a few wires here. The transformer's already in. Some wires are laid out. They see how cool those lights are, and they're like, man, it would be nice to have some of these over here by the fire pit.
Yeah.
Or over here on the sitting wall. A year later, they call you, and they're like, hey, you think we could add some lights over here? Absolutely. And we don't have to tear anything up to do it because I've already got wires ramped for you.
Right.
Phasing it in because obviously lights and ancillary things tend to be the first things that are cut. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can get into it. That's the way I was used to it.
I guess outdoor lighting is a safety feature too, right? I mean, if you got a lot of steps or boulders in your landscape, maybe you want to light them up.
Yep.
You know, uplighting's big.
I mean, there's a ton of functionalities for it. You know, showing off focal points, hiding unwanted things by lighting up areas and not lighting up areas. You know, people don't think about that. Security and safety, whether it be grandma being able to see to get up the steps or you have that security system. How many people you know that have cameras on them? I know Chris does.
Everybody.
I know I do.
Yeah.
You know, now those night visions get so far. Throw lights through your front yard. You can see the whole way of the street now with your cameras.
Well, we also had a previous episode, I think it may have just aired, where we talked to a real estate professional and he talks about curb appeal and how much value added.
Oh, yeah.
So outdoor lighting up those crepe myrtles or maybe those ornamental grasses, as you drive down the street, that's a big difference. That makes that house pop.
100%.
And it doesn't cost a lot. You know, what I try to tell some of the contractors are that sometimes they don't know where to start. And then even we have guys calling us, ladies calling us that they know about the lighting, but like you have some customers that aren't keen on it, and you know, we can help them out. I like to tell people 10%, right? So if you're doing a $15,000 job, try to put a $1,500 lighting package in it. If you're doing a $50,000 job, let's try to get $4,500, $5,000 worth of lighting into it, because in the grand scheme of the project cost, it's going to make the project look, I mean, just sexier.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost double, if not triple, to come back and add it later.
Yep.
Right.
Especially when you're looking at lights like this, right? Where you have to pull a paver up, or if you want to put 30 of these in, 30 pavers that have been in place for 18 months, 24 months, 36 months. It costs a lot more money to do that later down the road, right?
Because then your hardscape supplier has to drive 3 hours into another state to find a matching paver to replace the ones that broke. Right.
That's right.
Yeah. You don't
from,
know anything
from
about
3
that,
years
do you,
ago.
Kyle?
Yeah, all too well.
Yeah.
All too well. It was an experience. I'll say that, you know.
You got to come to good state of PA.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I've seen pictures too, and getting to your point, Chris, is you're not just seeing them on the borders anymore, or, you know, you're seeing them throughout the patio, which I think is a really unique function of outdoor lighting, you know. But to your, you know, again, back to your point is now you want to add it in the middle of the patio, a couple here and there, and the pavers are already laid.
Right.
Well, now that's more than double or triple.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we might as well start all over again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, anybody tuning into this today, think about it. Think outside the box of the design of the outdoor lighting.
100%.
You know,
100%. You know, pavers are getting more and more intricate as the years go by. You know, all these companies are trying to come out with the next best thing. They're coming out with new shapes, new sizes, new textures, right? And there is a way to design with shapes, textures, not just in your pavers, but now with our lights. I mean, you see right here, we've got the prism fixture. We have the cube fixture. We have the silos, which are round. So now you're designing with shapes, not just in your pavers. You're doing it with your lighting fixtures. You're doing it with the entire grand design of your entire job. You know, maybe the patio is starting. You know, I have a couple contractors out West PA that they have the round fixtures and a round inlay on a round patio.
Right.
And it's like, it's just a whole family theme right there, right? And so it really gives you that congruency from top to bottom of the project.
No, it's interesting because that one matches up with the Unilock hex perfectly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
so it's, you know, we're getting ready to do new displays, so we're going to take a couple of those and throw it without the Unilock hex.
Yep, absolutely.
So that'll be really sharp.
Yep,
Yes.
and actually, I think this one's
Yeah,
modeled after.
So
the
this
Unilock.
is
This
modeled.
3D printed paper, which Chris came in
That's
real
pretty
handy for.
Really, that's nice.
Yeah.
We'll sell you about 100 square foot of them for about 3,000. But I mean, having those shapes and that ability it really brought something new to the industry. And I know, speaking for myself, like I've been having a ton of fun designing projects with it, where it's just like, dude, check this out.
And you guys do the designs yourself, or you have a team?
So you can ask us. I've done a few where I'll help a contractor out and say, hey, I would put lights here, here, and here. If they don't want like the full design, we do have an in-house designer. I've done a ton of jobs with her that she's phenomenal. She's gone to school for landscape architecture. She has the background. Chris has done his time in landscape architecture. He doesn't do designs. He's not technically our designer, but I'd let him design my stuff.
So contractors call in to Bold, or how do they?
Yeah, so for the designs, get a hold of us, and we can set you up with our in-house designer, Letitia. She's amazing. She'll contact the contractor, get the details about the job, and she can take anything from a bar napkin drawing to, an already done 3D design, and she can plug lights into it. She can actually, I've seen her take the drawings and make it a full 3D design. They didn't have anything, and a lot of contractors find value in that because they don't have the time or the software to do their own designs yet, right? $250 for the 2D design. $450 for the 3D design. Cool part about it is if they come and they buy 10 times that amount for lights in that project, we'll refund that design. So essentially, you're getting a design for free.
Right. So if they design, they're paying $450 for the 3D.
Yep.
But they only use, I don't know, let's just say $2,500 on that project and $2,000 on another project. They get that $450 back, or does it all have to be on one project?
It would be showing up on like one sheet for that bill afterwards for that project. I mean, if they bought 2 projects, I guess we wouldn't technically know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like most of the time, they're gonna come. I haven't seen a design that has come out yet that if they sold with that design, it didn't. People buy on emotion. If they can see it, they see it one way, and you show it to them one way with that design, they don't want to buy it another way.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to be like, wow, that looks beautiful with lights in it. It's like, but I only want one light. You're not going backwards after that.
Yeah.
You put the shirt on and it feels good. You don't want to put the cheaper shirt on afterwards.
Right. That's a great point.
So
in the 3D designs also can help out if you're in the competitive bid market as well, right? So the visual sells.
Of course. So, we talked about this earlier. More guys need to get into that 3D walkthrough lookalike.
Yeah.
So undervalued.
You can, right? So let's say a homeowner's going out for 3 bids, right? And you're pencil whipping. You get 2 guys, 2 contractors. That there's a price. I'm going to do this. The patio is going to be X square feet. A walkway this long, this wide, whatever it's going to be. A couple of lights, right? And then you partner up with Bold and you say, hey, this is the backyard. Here's a picture. Here's a Google Earth video or picture. This is what I'm thinking. And you take a 3D rendering in there, one, what it looks like at dusk, and then another one, what it looks like at night with the lights turned on. And you go to that homeowner, you could be a little higher. I mean, you're not going to be able to be double,
of
right?
course.
You can't be double,
right?
But you can be a couple points higher and still win that bid.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, $450 was well spent.
Of course.
And it comes down to like you're not just selling the product. Then you're not just selling your service. You're selling the value in your service, right? It's way more than just the patio. Then
it's who you are. Get creative. And this is an interesting thing because you can do lighting after the fact, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's a good as the markets tighten up, and we're all seeing it no matter where you are in the country.
Oh, we're phasing projects everywhere.
Right.
Yep.
So it's a good idea on a rainy day for the contractors to sit in that office and call the last, dozen projects they've done, or go through a year's worth of projects and just call Mrs. Smith. Hey, this is blah, blah, blah. And, I'm looking to do some outdoor lighting. Would you be interested?
Yep.
Do you need an upgrade?
So here's something else to go for you. I know we're on the hardscape huddle, right? But our lights, our recessed lights also go well in decks.
Of course. Yeah.
Decking. What we're finding, though, is some of the guys in the decking industry, they light the decks up, right? But 20 feet away, you can put a couple of path lights in on your way to the deck.
Yeah.
And so think outside of what it is you're doing directly in that.
Be bold, if you will.
Be bold.
Yeah.
That's right.
I like it.
Think outside the box, right? Outside of your direct project area,
Yeah.
and see what other value adds can you do
Yeah.
for that homeowner.
100%.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yep. I think the other value add that you can bring to, and a lot of guys aren't doing it, and I think it's a missed opportunity for our industry as a whole, is lighting maintenance packages. So here's the thing: freeze thaw, fall leaf cleanup. Sometimes they don't do fall leaf cleanup, which is another great touch point for the guys that are doing maintenance and things like that. Or, hey, let me put you on a small, yearly fee maintenance package. I don't know what it would cost. Maybe it's $100, $150. I'm just going to come out. I'm going to clean up some of your fixtures, make sure they're still aimed properly, make sure there's no issues with them, check them over. You come out there, you spend 20 minutes walking around, you might wipe off a couple fixtures, and then boom, you're out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a touch point for the customer. You can see it. I know guys that have done it, and the neighbor walked over and was like, what are you doing over here today?
Yep.
You coming to do more projects for Mrs. Jones? It's like, no, I'm just cleaning off her lights. Oh, you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% we do. And the guy that actually, he told me that story about how he got more business, he didn't even sell them on a maintenance package. He factored it into his main bid and said, hey, this is included in my bid. I'm going to come back for the next 2 years afterwards, after every winter, and I'm going to make sure your lights are set for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Homeowner loved it. He got 5 more houses down the street because he kept coming back. They saw him coming back. Word of mouth traveled. And then he also added 2 more phases to that same project because it's a touch point, and that serviceability that we talk about all so often is they see it because you're coming back and taking care of your work.
Yep.
So,
And like you said, hey, while you're here,
Yeah.
you think we can do this? You think we can do that? All right, sure.
Well, and even you as a contractor gives you the opportunity to be like, Mr. Jones, this looks really great still. I still think that, you might be a little dark back here. How do you think about just adding a couple spotlights on this really beautiful tree it's grown a lot since we did the project?
Mm-hmm.
What if we uplit this to give you a little bit of a backdrop? Yeah, it's a little out of the patio, but when you're sitting here, now you have something to look at night instead of just dark space.
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah. Imagine this, right?
Yeah, make that homeowner visualize it before it's even there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, no, that's great. As you were talking about decking, Chris, Lee had touched on also about the testing you guys do on your lighting,
Mm-hmm.
and salt water and things like that. So you're here at the Jersey Shore. What about decking? If you do docks and things like that,
Yep.
okay, I would assume the water will be okay and all of that.
Everything is marine grade alloys, right? So either anodized aluminum, powder coated, or 304 stainless. So saltwater pools, saltwater at the bay, if you're using it for docks.
Or just Pennsylvania, good old salty roads.
Good old
on the
salty
driveways,
roads,
right?
Amen to that.
Your pool area, on your deck, if you have a deck or an above ground pool, or anything like that.
You're
Okay.
covered.
Even below grade.
That's impressive. No, so I see you have a couple here that have some trim rings around it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any without trim rings? And the reason I ask is I'm seeing lights in the middle of driveways. I'm seeing walkways cut through the center of the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
But if they only wanted to illuminate the walkway part of that,
Mm-hmm.
being from Pennsylvania, how do you do snow removal and things like that? Can you drive right over top of that and not harm the light?
Yep.
So the geometric shaped fixtures that we have here, you're not going to plow these, right?
Right.
Your snowblower, the plow,
the raised fixtures, yeah.
it's going to take one shot.
Yeah,
And that's it,
yeah.
right?
They are drive overrated.
They are drive overrated, so you could technically line a driveway with it and still be okay. The other ones, though, with the trim rings on, we have the square, prism, round rings. You will be able to plow over top of them. A lot of people with paver driveways, a lot of them are back dragging anyways,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they're not sticking a bucket of a Bobcat down and just letting it rip, right? So they're back dragging, they're being ginger with it. They're not going to want to damage somebody's
Got rubber buckets.
Yeah.
Heat it.
Rubber
50
blades.
But the other thing to think about too is if it's a smooth paver, I can see the fear there.
Mhm.
But how many pavers do you have that have that slate texture?
Yeah,
What's
there's
the
a fair amount.
What's the differentiation on that?
That's a good point.
You're looking at like an eighth of an inch on those trim rings, and it's chamfered off, so it's not a sharp edge.
Right.
So you're fine.
But your original question is, yes, in the 22 millimeter, the mini fixtures, we do have them without the rings.
Yes.
There are things that you have to consider when using them. You are going to want to be pretty precise when you're coring out those holes, because they are 22 millimeter. They're not 7/8 of an inch. So you're going to want a 22 millimeter, wet bit to get down through there. And, we also carry a drill press that allows you to stick the paver on and it's straight down. You don't have to worry about kind of wandering and walking while you're using, but there is a cost associated with that,
So what is the startup cost? So I'm a hardscape contractor. I have, the IQ saws. I have the vacuums. I have everything to do the hardscape project, but I don't have a drill press. I don't have a need for one. So what does it cost to start up to get into the lighting business?
Yeah. So if you're not, there's not a need to start out with a drill press right away. I recommend drill presses for my contractors that are putting, 40, 50 recess fixtures in a project. If you're just putting, maybe a dozen recess fixtures in your first project, you're just trying to get a hang of it. You can get a water swivel, which will connect right to your 1/2-inch chuck, DeWalt, or Milwaukee. Not prejudice here. I'm personally a DeWalt guy. Don't hate me for it. But it'll fit right into your drill, right? And then it'll thread right onto we sell 22 mil and our 60 mil bits. They are metric. They do fit snug specific to our fixtures. If you get the standard size, there's going to be a little slop in there. The lights will be able to be picked out. And you can get that set up for, it comes out to like $250, $300. And then you're
nominal money.
Yeah, right. And it's an expendable, right? You do it with your saw blades, you do it with your edge restraints, you do it with your everything, those are expendables that you're going to bid for and calculate for in your overhead. It's also one of those things that when you're bidding it in, most times, like, I'm selling that with my project anyway. So, it's not expensive to get started. And honestly, once you get into it and you add that skill set, you become more valuable yourself. So
of course,
that's another added way to bring revenue in, and it pays for itself in the long run.
Yeah. No,
it's not really an expense.
Drilling pavers, drilling porcelain, very difficult or not as difficult?
It's definitely more. It's definitely made more difficult than it should be.
Okay.
I think we had a little video of it here, but all you need is we do our own training. So here at Bold, we love helping. That serviceability comes back around. We do our training with,
there you go.
Our install videos here. You can see we have our drill press. It's about a $900 fee for a drill press, which for a core drill, I bought one like a year and a half before I got out of business, and it was like a Husqvarna. I spent like $1,500 on it. Found out we were selling them for less. I was like, man, what an idiot. It's super simple. If you're using the drill press,
Is that a Milwaukee? Because I'm a Milwaukee guy.
It's colored that way. There's plenty of different ways that you can, be able to drill in by hand, whether you're using the drill press, but it's just a slow and steady process. We have training on every inch of our installation. We do the Bold Academy every year in the wintertime, normally from like February to March. We'll walk you through how to do our installs, how to, install in existing landscapes, how to do phasing projects, how to sell projects, core products, how to do different lighting effects. We do all of that training. We'll even come to the store.
Yeah.
We'll do the training at the store for your local contractors. For a contractor that maybe can't make it, we'll go to the shop. We'll come on site. We'll train you on site, and we can do the virtual ones all year round. And then our YouTube channel, we're constantly throwing new videos out there. We just did one for existing landscape installs and how to do it around, putting it under like a concrete sidewalk that's already there, doing those sort of things that the newer guys have never done. They don't know how to get into it. So we have a lot of information out there to help the contractor get started, understand what it takes, and how to get around those hiccups in the projects that you run into.
That's outrageous. And there's a lot of companies in the marketplace, as we talked about earlier, but not everybody offers the same things that you guys do, right? Sometimes when customer service is the biggest thing. We talked about that earlier.
Yep.
And, Chris has come out to a few job sites, just to inspect, right? Hey, how's everything going? It's great to get that customer feedback as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And then Chris can take that to your engineers or what have you.
Yep.
I like some of your path lights, quite honestly. I think they're a little bit more sleek and modern looking than the old fashioned we used to have, 2 or 3 different styles to choose from.
Right.
Now you guys offer a bunch of different ones.
Right.
The one that I'm most impressed with, I don't see that we have here today, and that's okay. It's excuse me, I don't remember the name.
The Dax.
The Dax.
The Dax.
Yes.
The Dax low. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one too. It's probably my favorite. The cool part about it is it's not even really the fixture, right?
It's how
it's the
it's
effect.
just, yeah. I love that.
It's the way the light looks coming from it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right. It's not the fixture itself. It's how it projects
That nice
the light.
little V beam out across there, and I love seeing it alternated on pathways because it gives you like that. It almost guides you to walk down at that left feel as you're walking down the sidewalk, and it's really cool to be able to design with a feature, an effect, and not just an element fixture, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it is interesting, and as you were saying, the right, left. Maybe most restaurants and pubs and things should have that walking out of their door to your Uber, right? On a NFL Sunday, and
yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good way to sell right there. We should start marketing that.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a safety. It's probably a insurance break, right?
Yeah, no, and I think, going back to the whole serviceability, I know Chris came up with the best line ever, and I know he told you about it, but, the question we get all the time is why not another brand? Why not Amazon cheap lights?
Right.
Right. And I'm going to let you handle this.
I think the first time I ever came to your location, you said, why would I pick Bold? And I believe I told you because you get me. Right.
You did.
And what I mean by that is, it's not me, right? It's the team. It is the partnership. It is the relationship. I mean, the lights are a byproduct of what it is, right? What we do is we create relationships and we create solutions to whatever problem may be.
One main problem: darkness.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And we've received calls from people that were just trying to retrofit some Bold lights into an existing system, and we troubleshooted. The wire was garbage, and they were trying to save some money for the homeowner. It was like, man, you're the last contractor touching this wire. If there is a problem, it's your problem.
You're married to it now.
That's right. You were the
this
last one
homeowner
touching.
had this system installed in 1980.
Yeah.
The insulation's still brown.
Yep.
How do we fix this? It's like,
So, and then, the other thing too is I believe you had said to me, why would anybody pick Bold over something that they can get on Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I won't say it as bluntly on your podcast as what I said to you. Don't be scared. But at the end of the day, Jeff Bezos doesn't care about your undercap light.
No.
Right.
So if it burns out,
right, you have a 30-day return window. With Bold, we give you 7 years.
Oh, but I can just buy another one for $10.
You can just buy another one for $10. But
what about that 2 hours it takes you to go rip the cap off, pull that light out, put the new one in, go back, and then 3 months from now you got to do it all over again.
That's right. So the thing is, we take more pride in making sure that the undercap lights work, that they're going to do what we want them to do. The quality is going to be consistent no matter if you buy one this year and next year. You don't know if that Amazon seller or that manufacturer on Amazon is going to be there next year when that burns out, and you need to match the Kelvin rating of that light and make sure it looks like the one that just burned out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the other thing is too, right? If I do you wrong, you can boycott me, right? And that stings a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If that undercap light or that pathway light you get off Amazon burns out and it does you wrong, you still have your Amazon Prime membership.
Your
wife's
still ordering from
your
Prime.
wife,
boxes are coming every day.
Your wife's still buying pillow shams or toilet tissue or whatever it is, right? So you're not boycotting anything there.
That is correct.
So the other thing I like to say too is, right, so these contractors, they're going out and depending on the market, right, they're putting in beautiful $50,000, $7,500, $150,000 hardscapes. You're really going to put in a sub quality light fixture to save $16 on each light.
Right.
You're going to put that light on that wall or that patio or that deck.
Right. The lighting package should be priced accordingly.
Right.
So you make money.
Yep.
Okay. And to that project. So if you got 10 lights at a savings of $10, $12, what are you really saving?
Right.
Now, can you rest your head at night knowing that you may or may not have a problem?
Right.
And to your point, and you said it best before, is take the light back to the dealer you bought it, whether it was Staff of Stone or another partner of Bold's.
Right.
You're going to see them. You're going to greet that person at the front counter and say, it burned out. I don't know. Okay, here you go. Make sure you got, the green indicator light is on.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you got power there. Screw it back on. I'll take care of the rest. Walk in, walk out.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than now you got to, back charge your credit card, call your credit card company, stop payment on that, $12 light.
Yeah, the other thing too about like when we talk about the less expensive light fixtures, you're buying them off Amazon, you're buying them off eBay or wherever they are, right? So an analogy I like to use is, are you going to take tires from like a Hugo and put them on your Porsche and run them, right?
Yeah, I don't even think they make a Yugo anymore.
Well, they don't, right?
You're just dating yourself.
Yeah. So
what's a Yugo?
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to go to the tire shop with your
100%.
Porsche, even with your truck, right? We all have trucks, right? We're not going to the tire shop and putting the cheapest tires we can find on our trucks.
I spend too much on tires.
I
That's
know,
my wife.
I know you do.
This is curbs. If they were lit, she would see the curbs.
Exactly.
That's right.
You need to sell more lights.
So just put everything in perspective, right? If you're spending $2,000 on a patio, then maybe you put $20 lights on it,
right?
But expect to have the performance of a $20 light.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there's something to be said for if you're a contractor that's really trying to grow and be somebody. Customer that wants to put a $2,000 patio in this day and age is probably not the customer you want to be chasing down, right? Like there's better people out there.
I could have used a different analogy. I get that now.
I just had to call you out on that.
No, that's funny.
No, but another selling factor for Bold is we talk about partnerships and we talk about customer service, but you think Bezos or anybody from Big Corp is coming out to help you decide where to put the lights?
No.
Or, hey, I've got a problem and I'm in the middle of a job. Okay, I'll be there tomorrow or, the next day.
Yep.
No.
So another thing, right? We were talking about design earlier and Letitia doing these really awesome designs and stuff. But if you, as a hardscaper, landscaper, even a landscape architect, do your own designs, we have IES files. We have 3D model files that you have access to on our website that you can take and design them.
Yep, toss them right in.
So if you are that high level contractor,
design build firms,
you're not going to get that information off of an Amazon light fixture or an eBay light fixture, even some of the lesser quality light fixtures.
Chances are, if you're putting those fixtures in, you're not doing the design anyway.
There's a good possibility.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he might even have hot spots or dark spots.
I bet his crayons are sharp, though. He's probably drawing it out. Crayons are sharp.
Highlighters.
Yeah. Warm white, day, whatever it's called, day white or
warm white. Well, it depends on what region in the United States you're in.
Okay.
I've heard some people in the Midwest, they'll call that, what is it? I think that's actually considered cool white in some states, but we consider it warm white, 2,700 Kelvin. All of our lights are 2,700 K across the board. So that way you're not mix matching color temperatures on your project.
Thinking ahead with,
Yeah. Well, in my years here as a sales rep, I have become a bit of a lighting snob.
Okay.
Because you'll walk into an area and you'll see where they replace a couple bulbs and they're in just the wrong temperature. Oh man. Like before I was like, oh yeah, they replaced the bulb. Now I'm like, oh God, that's terrible. Like who does this? Now it really bothers you. And that's one thing, it's just like trying to match caps, right?
Yep.
You get that one paver that's a little bit off or the batch was wrong and you're like, you notice it right away. Well, I notice it on lights now too. So
I even notice it now when people don't mix the pavers.
Or the wall block.
Yeah.
Oh man, you get that ridge line. You're like, dude, no.
How about when the undercap light burns out?
Yep.
Okay. If we can't, is there an easier way to replace it?
So it comes down to your installation, right? And again, we cover this in training, but it's real easy for me to cover it right now. When you're installing that undercap light, one, they come with like a 2 to 3 foot lead off of them right now. We sell extensions, which go right between the Cobra connector and the end of the lead. So 3, 6, or 9 foot. You can put multiple on if you need to get a little longer. What you do is grind a little channel for your cable, right? I always tell people, once you grind a little channel and you put your light down in it, take a little duct tape, throw it over that grind out, right? And that way, when you glue your cap down on, 2 things there. You throw that glue on, it doesn't get smashed in there and then glue your lead in, right?
That's a good point.
Leave a little bit of extra cable looped in the top. And then that way, if that light does go out, currently right now with V1 of the undercap lights that we have, you have to take the screws off the bracket and you'll tug a little bit of that wire out, snip it, and then come get a new one. Take it, hardwire it back on, heat shrink it, solder it, whatever, tuck it back in, throw the screws back on. All right, we do have some things that we're working on where it's going to be a little bit more of a quick connect so that you can disconnect it a little more and not have to do the heat shrink or cut and splice, because every other part of our system doesn't, and we don't want you to have to. So there's things coming down the road. Our R&D is continuous with stuff like that, but that's the process. Like, always install, prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Of
right?
course.
And anything you do, just planning it out and having that process, even if you don't buy the 2D design, having a job site layout. I preach it to my guys all the time. Like, if you don't have a layout for how you're going to plan that, because if you're not there to tell your guys where you need stuff, things are going to go crazy, right? Yeah. It keeps everything efficient, keeps everything moving, and keeps you from having issues down the road. Plan it out. Do it right when you install it so that if there is an issue, you're quick to get it. Simple, like we talked about the Starry Night pattern. Guys will put these underneath a 3,000 square foot patio or even 1,000 square foot patio. And yeah, you can bury these connectors. They're built for it. But with the extensions and the accessories we have, you don't have to. Take your extensions, run your main home run around the outside of the patio, take an extension, get your Cobra connectors out. So that way, if you want to troubleshoot it, you can see the Cobra connectors. You don't have to tear up half the patio. And then boom, one light goes out. You're only removing that paver instead of half the patio to get to where your connections are, right? So
interesting.
It's things like that that are just, they're simple processes that we teach and we preach to all of our guys, that it doesn't have to be scary. If you understand the processes to go through it and do it the right way the first time, you're never going to have an issue. And if you do, it's mitigated very easily. So
what about color changing? Is R&D working on us? Give us something new here.
It's coming.
Break some new news out on the Hardscape Huddle.
Yeah, so smart transformers are right on the horizon here. We're going to HNA. We're hoping to have that stuff for the show. If not, it's going to be very shortly after. So smart transformers, you can control them from the app, Wi-Fi ready, smart home integratable. So Google Home, Amazon Alexa, and Apple Home Kit.
And these we can use off of that right now, right?
Yeah, so these ones, they won't be like, you can't turn specific lights on and off, but the cool part is you're going to be able to zone out. So there'll be 3 zones on the Smart Source 60, Smart Source 180. There'll be 5 zones on the Smart Source 300. So you'll be able to routine each zone separately, do different things with each zone. They don't have to all be run the same way like you do with a standard transformer right now. And that gives you the ability to, maybe you just want the house front lights on all the time, and the patio lights only come on when you're having a get together. And then there will also be color changing coming. We'll have some color changing spotlights. We're going to have some strip lights coming out. We're going to start to do some recessed fixtures, undercap lights. There's going to be a few models that are coming out in all of those families of lights.
Okay.
You're going to be able to do, different seasonal things, calendar settings, things like that. So there's going to be a lot of versatility to the fixtures, and be able to change the hues, change the dimness of them as well. So Bold, ultimately, we want to be an outdoor provider. We want to be a solution for the guys to go to be like, look, I can do my lights. We're looking at audio. We're looking.
I was just going to ask about
other
audio,
things like that, because it's huge, right?
Yeah.
Lights used to be hard to sell. Now they're not. Now, audio used to be hard to sell. It's getting easier because it's one of those things. Like, if I'm in my outdoor living space, I want to be able to have the speakers that I can play music to, and maybe the lights dance to the music, or
rake the leaves to the football game.
Yeah, right.
To the Penn State game.
Yep. Yep, exactly. So, all of those are, big things we have on the horizon. I would say, in the next year, you're going to see a lot of that stuff popping out. Color changing going to be sooner than that. Smart transformers very, very, very soon.
I better get another location so we have more room to store all your
I was
stuff.
thinking like another few locations.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might be pressing your luck.
No pressure. No pressure.
Don't aim too low.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Yeah.
Shoot for the moon, and if you catch a star on the way, you're good, right?
Yeah. So, no, I mean, guys, it's very interesting. I really didn't know that the lighting business was in the billions in the United States.
It's massive. It's massive.
You know, we're only capturing a little bit of it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. We've got to get more contractors to do it. You
Yep.
know, maybe we'll, in the wintertime, between all your shows,
Yeah.
we'll have some training at the store.
Oh,
or something,
100%.
you
100%.
know? So,
Yeah. Always, and if you're out there and you're looking for training, reach out to us.
and you said you had the YouTube channel. So, if guys are in the mix of something and get stuck, they can always revert to that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have our FAQ thing on our website at boldpros.com. You can go on there. You can ask questions. We have a live chat. You can reach out to us on there. Call myself, Chris, any of the other reps. Get a hold of you, and you can get us in touch with them.
Yeah.
The YouTube channel, Bold Best Outdoor Living Design on YouTube. Instagram, we put a ton of reels up. Our team loves doing the reels. We love sharing reels with contractors. You're going to see a ton of content from us coming. And we continue it. We keep going with it. And that's how we push out our information, whether it's a bold tip of the day or Tom likes to do on the cool shit you didn't know about bold. So that's his little quick one. We do things like that all the time where, it's just the value we bring is because we keep the information rolling, right?
One thing I've noticed is you guys think outside the box, think futuristic, which is really big in our industry because it's ever so changing, and it's happening a lot more rapid now than it ever has. And I've been in it a long time.
Yep.
So, there's a sales rep who I've mentioned earlier. I don't even buy anything from him, but I remember we both started around the same time. And for 10, 15 years, we've been saying, man, this industry is stale. Then open grade base took off.
Oh, man.
Right. And then trying to get guys to convert.
That was an argument for years. Still is.
It still is. Yeah. You've got those guys that want dense grade no matter what.
Yeah.
And you got guys that have changed and say, I'll never do anything else.
Yep.
And now we're changing light colors and, programming things off of your phone.
It's crazy.
It's just gone.
Well, think about it. I mean, we went outside and played until the lights came on, right? Now our kids sit on iPads.
Yeah.
So in 20 years when they're where we are, what's it going to look like? There's going to be a machine for everything we're doing right now on a project.
Well, we already have the machines laying pavers.
Yeah, right.
Yep. So
Pave tool is going to be all kinds of different, man, huh?
There's going to be robots.
Yeah, right.
Pavers, right?
They're going to be selling robots instead of clamps.
Yeah. That's all right, though.
Shout out to Phil Baller. Get on it, brother.
Get on it, Phil.
Come on, Phil.
We'll talk at H&A.
Yeah. Better have at least one robot there.
Come on. We all watch the Jetsons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. They had Rosie.
Yep.
Hey, that's the name of my Roomba.
Yeah, me too.
Rosie.
Yeah. I hate when she doesn't show up, though.
I'm telling you.
When it comes to the install, it's not just our connector. We have the troubleshooting abilities with it. It's great. It's fast. It's speedy. But everything about our system is meant to make the entire project easier, all the way down to designing and preparing for the project with installation. As soon as I build out exactly what lights I want to use and where, I get my calculations of it. With our transformers, unlike other transformers in the industry, we don't use watts. We use VAs, which stands for volt amps. The cool part about volt amps is, it's kind of the equivalent of, you start your vehicle up, right? When it's idling, it uses that same amount of fuel. That's like watts.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take into that amount whenever you fire it up, and it shoots that fuel in, which is the inline rush voltage. VA takes into account the startup and the idle.
Oh, gotcha.
So the cool part is now when I'm calculating it, if this 60 mil fixture here is 1 VA, I have a source 60. I know I can put 60 of these fixtures on that source 60 because I can fill it to 100% instead of having to calculate that 80%.
And the drop is,
So we recommend max on 12-2 cable up to 262 feet, which is where our rolls end. If you're using 10-2, which our connectors will work with 10-2, you can run up to 328 feet. Now that's with like an average amount of fixtures on it. If you're using the bigger fixtures like our well light, the Stark, or if you're using one of our bigger spotlights and you're using a lot of them, then we have a voltage drop calculator on our website. You can pop that in. It'll tell you like, hey, here's what you should expect down the line with this many fixtures, or you're good to go. You're not really going to see anything. These recessed fixtures, you're not going to see. I mean, I've seen guys put hundreds of these on a project and not have a difference.
Okay. So that's a little bit different too. I mean, not everybody does it that way.
Nope.
Right.
No, and it's something that just makes the thought process a lot simpler. Factoring 80% for the guys that have been doing it for years may not be a big deal, But you take that one step away,
Yeah.
you know, it
Yeah.
makes it a little easier. So
Yeah.
Well, it's that summer help that you really don't want, but you have to have.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
back to that again.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, simple addition is pretty much easy for, you know, if you're
Mo-
out on a
most of
hard
us.
scale. Yeah, most. I have my days.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
So
All right. Well, again, I thank you very much for appearing on the Hardscape Huddle, guys.
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
We appreciate
It
it,
was-
and
Chris's first one.
yeah,
Yeah.
first podcast.
You didn't even do bad.
I would
Oh.
stand up and take a bow, but I don't want to knock anything over.
It's the one
For
time we
sure.
jinxed him on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So-
and I mean, if I could, you know, if you want to follow us on Instagram, we love, you know, chatting with people on Instagram, seeing the projects. You can share videos with us, reach out to us. Chris likes to post Taylor Swift videos
Oh,
on
my
his
goodness.
Instagram. So if you want to go judge his Instagram, please do.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Bold Pros _ Chris, myself, Bold Pros _ Lee. You can also follow Bold Pros on Instagram as
Can
well.
they tag you guys on pictures on
100%.
job sites?
I
Yeah.
love being tagged in job sites. It's so cool to see. We have so many of our customers do it. It's really cool to see the different regions. You know, in one day you'll see 4 or 5 different videos or pictures from all over the states, and you're like, man, this is like,
Yeah.
they're killing it out there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we
Thinking
love it.
outside the box, being creative.
Yeah.
I didn't even know my light does that, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. You saw some guy that like he threw this fixture that you only ever see in a paver, and he threw it up on a wall, and you're
Yeah.
like, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yep.
So the
That's wild.
innovation and the pushing the limits in the industry, you know, social media gives us such a platform to be able to see all of that.
Mhm.
And, you know, different regions think different ways, man. The designs in Texas are not the designs
Yeah,
in New Hampshire,
sure,
right?
for sure.
So reach out, come say hi.
All right, we'll do.
Yeah, man.
Again, for our third time, we're signing off for the night. Thanks for tuning in to the Hardscape Huddle.